Oh shoot. Go ahead and start talking instead of the camera. I must have touched it with my refill pause. Say hello.
My little
Is that any better?
look like a ghost.
Good morning. Sorry. Always something. I had coconut oil on my hands and I grabbed my computer this morning. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning. How
Good
are you
morning.
today? Thank you for joining us. I haven't had my first sip of coffee. I've kind of been hit the floor running and I had tech stuff to do. And I just woke up this joker about 5 minutes ago going, get up, we got live.
Yeah, I'm still getting the sleep out my eyes.
So if you're just joining us for the very first time, I apologize. This isn't scripted. We don't plan it. You know, we're not actors. We don't even brush our hair in the morning. We just have coffee and chit chat. Did you brush your hair?
Yeah, man. Look at that.
All the three pieces? Anyways, our story. So we are from South Carolina. We lived in a beach community by the ocean. And
HOA?
with an HOA, yep. I mean, it was that kind of a community. We lived on a small lot. There we go. Okay, I won't mess with my hair no more. It's like looking in a mirror that I don't do. And 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, he had on his heart to move his family away from the beach. And so here we are in East Tennessee, living off-grid with our children and now our daughter-in-law and mother-in-law, and on 47 acres in the middle of nowhere. So here we are. There we go. Good morning. Good morning, Sherry. How are you, honey?
Good morning, Sherry.
Sherry, did you get any of that storm? I can't remember. Did we get the storm?
We got some rain.
I know we got lots of fireworks because the dogs were going crazy. Yeah. And that's the horrible time about this year. Yeah, we want to celebrate our independence or the illusion of our independence. But the fireworks make the dogs go crazy.
It rained yesterday and the temperature dropped like 20
Oh,
degrees.
yeah, that was nice. I was talking to Sherry during then, though. Like, we were chit-chatting back and forth right then. Because it was 100 degrees. I sent Sherry the picture of our thermometer right then. And I have to say, so we don't have air conditioning here. We live off-grid. We have solar power, and that provides for all of our needs. We don't have heat except for wood, and we don't have air except for fans and such right now. And our house isn't insulated. We're working on that. Timmy worked on it yesterday. And so my office, because I work online, is on the north side of our house. It's in our master bedroom, and that room is insulated, and it stays nice, and it's cool. And if I have a fan on me, I'm good to go. So I'm in there working all day, and I hear nothing but Timmy and Lyndon. Oh, it's hot. Oh, it's crazy. Timmy would come and check on me working, and he'd sit down in front of the bed and go, so funny. You were a baby yesterday.
I'm sure I made that same face.
You were a baby yesterday, though, and I'm like, if he can't take this heat, this is just the beginning. Oh, we're in a world of trouble. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I'll complain about the heat, y'all. I do, but I was comfortable. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say anything.
No, you need to.
I'm going to take that. Bam, bam.
No, say something. You can say about the heat and what we're doing and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, it gets hot, and we aren't even. Well, I mean, yesterday was probably the hottest day that we've had.
But it's only July 1st.
Yeah, it's July 1st. But
I will say this.
A couple of months, and it'll be.
Yeah, I don't want to rush the season.
It'll be on the downhill.
I will say this, though. Here, that first year, we were like, it was that we moved from South Carolina. We're like July, and we're like, oh, this was nice. Then September hit, and October hit, and we're like, who opened the gates of hell? It was miserable. And because we were just building this house. And it was hot, and it rained every day. And it was hotter to me then in August and September than it was June, July, or any of that.
It was?
Yes, it was.
Where was I at?
You were complaining every day building this house. Back then. But that's not what we wanted to talk about. I actually had something on my heart to talk about. Wait, thunder, lightning, and rain. Got text about the wild chase. Oh yeah, I sent that to you. Crazy.
Wild chase.
Remember I said there was a car police chase last night around here. Sherry, where's that holler at? Because I couldn't figure it out, and I don't know the roads good enough to know where that was. But when it was saying off the Lower Bogart, I'm like, that's got to be around our area. So, anyways, something that's been coming up in my mind lately, because if you're not a member of it, we have several Facebook groups that we run, and we're present in there daily, and we talk in there daily. And one of them,
Chicken's trying to get a word in, you know.
I know, my goodness, one of them is a healthy living group that we do. We talk about food, and we do our accountability for those that want to do that, what they eat daily. Stop it. We've got a weekly weigh-in, that kind of thing, and that's all that group is for. So we were sharing how the government is getting ready to make aspartame a carcinogen, like make it illegal or a known carcinogen. So therefore, they won't be able to put it in our food. We've known for years that stuff is toxic. Remember Elisa back home? She was constantly drinking that Diet Coke. Skinny as she could be, she just liked the taste of Diet Coke. And she would suffer with constant migraines. And I said, honey, you need to get rid of that Diet Coke. It's poisoning you. And yes, it is. I mean, those diet products will poison you. And I'm allergic to it. I can't eat anything with it. It closes off my throat. Thankfully, I'm allergic to it. Go ahead. I do hear a car. What's that?
I mean, I'm still not familiar of everything that it's in, but I do know it's in the soda and a lot of chewing
All the
gum.
diet stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
the
the
sugar-free diet stuff, and it's a chemical. It's toxic. And a friend of mine was commenting, Tammy from Texas, in about that. You know, she's just now learning or waking up to all the toxic stuff in our food, all of the known ingredients that cause cancer, obesity. You know, cancer is the biggest one. They're neurotoxins. And I've shared this with us before with everybody. When I quit eating gluten, now from my allergy testing, I'm allergic to yeast, which kind of makes sense because I'm allergic to mold and everything too. Your rooster, I swear every second. I'm allergic to yeast. And so I thought I was allergic to gluten, you know, because every time I quit eating it, I felt better. Well, so it just made sense to not eat it, you know, and I ate gluten-free products, which aren't necessarily good for you either because they're full of a bunch of junk, kind of like fat-free stuff. And but before I quit gluten, this was back in South Carolina, they were diagnosing me with fibromyalgia, and I was miserable all the time. I hurt all the time. You couldn't touch my skin. I felt like I was always getting the flu. I felt I was in that 24/7 state of always feeling bad. And I had no idea it had to do with the food I was eating. So when I quit eating gluten and I quit eating refined sugars, I felt so much better. I wasn't going on a diet. I was just trying to figure out what was hurting me. And because we were living from, you know, a pretty clean lifestyle otherwise. You know, we grew a lot of our own food. We were running the farmer's market. We had the best of the best fruits and vegetables that money could buy. I mean, we were dealing with all of the certified organic farmers, but I was still eating a lot. I love my carbs, y'all. I love a bagel with cream cheese or just a bagel toasted with a little bit of butter. And he's a sugar addict. I know I stopped in mid-thought, but he's a sugar addict, which means I'm a sugar addict vicariously through him. Or by association, I should say, not vicariously. I'm going to see if I can't make him quiet.
I've quit sugar, and my energy level, it totally changes. It's almost like I have more energy than I know what to do with.
Oh, I know
And
what to do with it if you have too much energy.
yeah, and then there, now that I'm pretty much just back on regular sugar and everything except for my coffee,
It's coconut.
but
Everything else, he's a sugar
I
addict.
guess the candy and the sugar, soda and stuff like that, it does it knocks me down, especially during like the heat and the day
Well, you wake up with
when I'm
absolutely no
working.
energy.
Um, it I can tell a difference when I get off of it, and and I guess it's my body just working, trying to process it, and you don't think about it sometimes how much your body works to process things that are
Foreign to it.
yeah, foreign, unnatural, for your body to absorb and process. So
Well, and not
it
only
makes a lot of
that,
sense.
you think back, what is the one thing that we all need universally? I mean, globally, we all need food. So they can try to control us. Okay, say with the vaccines, wherever you stand on that, we have and always have been um, very proactive in what we put on our bodies and don't take anything without further research. We've been that way for years, even pre-COVID. And so we opted for natural immunity for the whole vaccine thing. Say, hypothetically speaking, they wanted to poison you through vaccines and then make them mandatory. Well, that's good, but what about the percentage of people that didn't get them, like us? So how are they gonna reach us? It's like, okay, well, they're poisoning the water with fluoride. That reaches everybody. But what about the people that have wells or purify their water because they're privy to that information, or collect rainwater? How do we poison them? So you think about it, and it's the one thing that we all do is we all eat. How many of us raise all of our own food and then raise the food for our food? For instance, how many of us raise all of our own food and then raise our chicken or cow or rabbit feed as well? Think about it. And you look at the diseases that increase, and not talking about population increase, because the way they increase the percentages when you're doing the research, if you can find it, it all takes the increase in population into effect. Well, all of the diseases like ADHD, autism, cancer, Alzheimer's, however you want to say it, I would say Alzheimer's, um, have increased over the last 50 years. It's not just a little bit, folks. Obesity. Remember when we were growing up, there was like one fat kid, one. Now, if you see a skinny person, that's the abnorm. Pretty much everybody is overweight, myself included. But now everybody is overweight. I see these little kids, toddlers and stuff. We were at Wally World the other day. I think that's where we were. This couple had two little toddlers, both on bottles in the car, and they had soda, and the other one had like a red high C type thing in its bottle. And I'm like, this is what's wrong with society is they're poisoning us through our food. And it's not our fault because it is so addictive. They said that sugar has the same effect as heroin on the brain, how it makes it respond
Hmm.
and how addictive it is. And it's like, yeah, poisonous through our food. Now they're doing this lab meat stuff, right? And I don't think that they have to disclose that. Does anybody know? Sherry, do you know? Anybody else watching? I don't think they're having to disclose. Most of the time they say where the origin of the product, just like fruit. You pick up something from Indonesia or China or Mexico or wherever. It's never from US. And which that has its own bag of worms that we're not going to get into. But they don't do that with a meat. They don't do where the source was or what's in it. I mean, I know that they do if it's organic, they have to list everything on there. Because you see, free range, no antibiotics, no fillers added, blah 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 blah. Why do they have to put that? Because they're putting that stuff in the regular stuff that you're buying. And with this day and age right now, it's just getting worse and worse, the junk that they're putting in our food. And my whole point about bringing this up is did really well about eliminating the sugar and the wheat products, and I finally felt clarity. I was like, I missed that. If you've ever been drunk and had a hangover, you know the next day where you wake up, you lie! Don't lie! Lying on a Sunday, God bless you.
Oh no, I'll be like, I'm all right.
No, no.
I'm okay.
You wake up and you're in that foggy daze. That's why you have to have the hair of the dog the next day
Ooh.
to give you some clarity so your head don't hurt so much. That's what I was like, but didn't know it until I became clear-headed, and it was from our food. And mainly, and I can't just put wheat in there. I'm talking all processed food. It's horrible for us. And it was never, I'm dealing. A friend of mine, she lives in the Philippines. She works with me, and she's dealing with major stomach issues right now. And so I sent her a yogurt maker helping to balance her gut bacteria. And she was so excited. They can't get real milk over there, folks. And it made me so mad. I can't even order her,
Home.
yeah, dry, powdered, whole, organic. I can't order her powdered milk that hasn't been ultra pasteurized, that doesn't have any of the beneficial bacteria in it, and ship it to her. It won't let me do that online, and no matter what form I use. Then I said, well, do you guys have health food stores? No. They have one they can order from online, and again, it was extremely restricted. It was ultra pasteurized in the box, shelf stable milk only. That's all they can get. Hang on a second. Sherry said, Timmy, didn't you suffer heat stroke last year? Heat can affect your negativity for quite a while afterwards, make you feel sick. You can immediately feel the temperature change. Heck yes.
Yeah.
Was that last year? The year before?
I do remember though.
It was the year before, Sherry. I was thinking because last year was my other knee surgery. It was the year before that where it was horrible, and it was in June, and he was working on our pool, and he got heat stroke, and then he passed out, and then I said I had to get him to the emergency room.
Yeah. God, please don't let me go through that again.
God, please give him the brain to not work in the heat all day and take care of himself when his wife tells him.
I've never ever been knocked down like that in my entire life. That was scary.
That was horrible. You gonna add stuff to it? Do you want me to do it?
No.
I'll do it.
I got it.
I'll do it.
I know just how much to put in there.
I've been with you 26 years. You don't think I know how to do your coffee?
I know how to do my coffee.
Anyhow, back to what we were saying. And so I've been doing, I firmly believe our food is making us stupid. I firmly believe that they've poisoned us for years and years to support the sick industry because there's no money in health. I mean, there's money if you're trying to sell health, but there's no money. They can't make money off of us if we're all healthy. Like they can sell us like this diet program and that diet program and this supplement and that supplement and this workshop and blah, 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 blah. But if we're truly healthy, they're not making no money off of us. None. And we keep them in business, right? I can't, if you don't believe me, ask your doctor. If you have an ailment, next time you go to the doctor, ask them for a preventative suggestion, and they won't have any. They'll have a pill that they prescribe you. Matter of fact, my doctor I went to for my blood pressure checkup, and she has been going through some health issues. She had a bulging disc, and I asked her, she goes, Amber, I was scared to take that stuff. And she goes, I know I prescribe it to my patients, but I don't want to take it. It's so bad for you. And I'm like, because she knows how I am. So she knows she can tell me that kind of stuff because I wouldn't take that junk that she prescribed either. But anyways, I also think that it dumbs us down on purpose. I don't have any proof of that. I can probably look some up and find some if they haven't scrapped it from the internet. But if you think about it, if they can successfully dumb us down, either through sickness or making us foggy-headed or making us so we don't have, what I guess saying that where we don't have clarity is the same foggy-headed, but then we're more compliant. We're less to question authority, because if you're clear thinking, you do start thinking about all that stuff. You do have more energy. You do have more time to think. You're not sluggish. You're not drained. You're not tired. You don't question anything. You just eat, sleep, repeat, But if you have that clarity and you start questioning, they're going to be in trouble. There's enough of us to do that. They're going to lose their power and their hold over us. What did I read to you last night about them blocking out the sun? I shared it in my Mighty Networks group. It was from the White House press, y'all. So everyone, I mean, I'm sure I'll get blocked again on Facebook. That seems to be the status quo lately. But they're considering now, because they're pushing this global warming agenda. If you're one of those, I'm sorry. The Earth and the weather patterns have changed since the beginning of time. It's nothing new. We'll have to adapt. Everything they said about the ice caps and all that, they'd be gone by the year 2020 or whatever. They've actually increased. So you've got to read through all that message. Why are they doing that? The fires in Canada were started by arson and probably continue to do so. But anyhow, they do weather manipulation all the time. If you don't believe that, read about what they did over there in Illinois. They did the weather manipulation by sending these nanoparticles up to block out the sun to reduce the heat. Then them blocking out the sun to reduce the heat created this massive algae bloom in the lakes because, have you guys, it's crazy how they're constantly trying to do, oh wait, was it they blocked out the sun to decrease the algae bloom? I think that's what it was. To decrease the algae bloom. Because if you have the sun hitting the water, you've got algae. And it has been nothing but a nightmare since. They keep trying to overcorrect it with more chemicals and more chemicals. And we all know about the governor of Illinois, right? But the Biden administration announced yesterday that they're considering blocking the sun's rays to reduce the Earth's temperature. Earth. I'm not saying one city, one state. It said Earth. Globally, to reduce because of global warming. What could go wrong? So,
I can't comment on that or speculate because I'm clueless.
I don't think
when
we
you,
can.
When you hear stuff like that, you're just like.
I told Timmy because I'm working on this fictional sci-fi end of the world book. I said my imagination cannot compete with the evil and the corruption the powers that be are doing. The things that they have done in the last 3-4 years that they're being exposed. I don't have an imagination wicked enough to come up with some of the stuff that they've done and got away with.
That's a good thing.
Well, yeah, it is good. I'll just write about what they've already done or doing. My thing is this, we're not trying to sell. Let's go back. We're not trying to sell fear porn, because fear does not come from God. But we do need to be acutely aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
We definitely need to be aware with what we're feeding our body because our body is a temple of Christ. If you're a Christian, the Holy Spirit is living in you. You've got to feed yourself that soul food, but you also have to feed yourself nutritionally because if you're numb constantly and your brain is in a fog and you just don't know it, I don't think you're going to be as receptive to the Holy Spirit when he's talking to you all the time. That's just my personal opinion. There's no scripture to back that up.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because you're just numb. And you don't realize you're numb until you eat a clean diet. Do it for 30 days. You can do anything for 30 days. Try it and see if you feel different and how. When I say clean, it's whole foods without ingredients, just so you know. And preferably either you grow yourself, produce yourself, or organic. Excuse me. There's a lot of organic fad too, but it's still much, much, much better than your conventionally produced food.
How about some good old fried taters? Some greens.
You can do fried taters and homemade lard. That's fine. Or real butter. That's not bad. Was it LDL and HDL? But I kind of lost my thought. As far as when I was talking about if you're foggy headed, you're not listening to the Holy Spirit. This isn't the part about fear porn. I think that we need to be acutely aware of what they're doing to our food. So we can protect ourselves. We can guard our heart. We can be we can be alert and hear the Holy Spirit. I mean, that's the whole thing, is about staying connected with God and doing His life, choosing His path and doing His work. And I think that if our body's constantly being poisoned and toxic, we're not going to be able to have the ability to do that. And we're going to feel bad all the time, like I have, you know?
Well, I mean, there's so many things in the world today to pull us away from Christ. So,
Yeah,
I
we don't
mean,
need our food to be one of
that's
them.
just one. It seems like natural way to be drawn away, but because if you don't have clarity on something, you can't even, you can't do nothing.
Well, I
You
mean, we're
can't think.
functioning,
You
but we're
can't
not,
think
yeah.
straight.
And I promise you, there's a huge difference if you eat a clean diet and don't physically. There's so many people that want to take a pill for everything. You don't need to. God provided us everything that we need on this earth to take care of everything that this world can throw at us. We just need to embrace it and start doing it. And because sugar is addictive, it is hard to break. And if you're interested, join our healthy food group. We'll be your biggest cheerleader. We never judge. We never tell you, oh, you shouldn't eat that. How dare you? I mean, we all have our struggles, and I am the first one to admit it. I mean, I didn't get here by eating healthy. Um, However, it's kind of like once you know better, you got to do better. That's that thing. And as far as if they do go spraying in the environment and block out our sun, wow, wouldn't they be able to control our food then? Because what does food need to grow? It needs sun. And I'm talking about real sun. I mean, we have grow lights, but they don't do what the sun can do. Not only that to our food, but also to our body. I mean, if you're lacking vitamin D, that's so essential for all of your organ health, then that's going to be a huge problem. We need to figure this out, people. We need to figure out how to combat what they're going to do to our environment. I mean, we're not going to be paranoid about it and be upset about it and sit there and, be scared. We're not to live in fear, but we are to be educated. Hitting the nail on the head. Thank you, girl. We need to be educated about that so we can be informed. We talked about this a year ago when a friend of ours, can't name names, her husband works on airplanes, and one of his clients was contracted by the government to spray chemicals over all of the fields, and to poison, kind of like almost the same components of Agent Orange. The one pilot and his family actually left town because they didn't want the contract, and the other ones kept the contract because they needed to feed their family. That was here locally in East Tennessee. So we were talking back then, a year ago, about what can we do to remove those chemicals from our soil. So that's where we would like feedback from you. Is like, what can we do to still stay healthy, to still eat good food, to still grow food in this situation? Now, with the vitamin D, I do have an answer for that one. Do you?
Right.
Think about it. What did God provide for us that we can have in the dark that provides
Oh,
our
mushrooms?
mushrooms,
Yeah.
mushrooms, fungi, so that produce vitamin D, and you don't need the sun for it.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, most of all mushrooms are grown in the dark. Isn't that amazing how God works for being able to have that type of food? So that's definitely a solution for that one, but we need to figure out something else for the others. Because we need to be aware. And if we don't act now, we're going to be in that when it happens, just like when the pandemic happened. If you weren't prepared and you were locked in, people panicked. And when they panic, they make stupid decisions, horrible decisions, because they felt that their back was against the wall and they didn't have any other choice. So this information that we shared with you today is not to panic you. Look at me, no words. Not to put you in a state of panic or fear, but to educate or maybe inspire. I'm not really here to educate you. That's not my job, I don't feel. I just share thoughts. If it stimulated interest in our conversation today, then you possibly need to look into eating a clean diet, removing all of the processed foods. And if you're interested in doing so, let's do this together. Like, join the Healthy Food Group. It's just a Facebook private group. It's not a paid thing. I don't ever sell anything, never have. And I think I've been running the group, 8, 10 years now. And they're, well, the team in there, the people in there are really great and they support you. But let's work together on removing all of the processed foods from our diet. To shop locally if you can, and to get the most nutritious food you can. Even if you go to a farmer that's not organic or a produce stand at the farmer's market, that's still better. Make sure that they grow it though, that they don't just buy it at like the warehouse that all the grocery stores go to, because there's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, don't feel bad about asking questions of where it came from.
What they use on it.
Yeah.
But that's still a lot better. If you can't afford organic, that buying directly from the grower that does use chemicals is better than buying it from the grocery store. One, because they pick it when it's ripe. Two, there's less chemicals on it than the stuff they spray in the grocery store, because they spray more stuff in the grocery store to keep it to last longer. I know this because we ran a farmer's market and we dealt with produce. So I'm saying the truth about that.
Yeah, what better time to do this? I mean, we're into, the season where you can get
a lot of fresh produce. Put them up. Buy in bulk. That's one thing that if you buy in bulk from a farmer this year, farmers don't like to deal with people that just want a pound of tomatoes or, just a couple of cucumbers. They don't have time for you. They're dealing with bigger customers. Yeah. But if you go them and say, hey, I would like a case of blah, 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 a bushel of, they're more apt to deal with Joe Public. And then you can buy them and put them up, like can them, freeze them, dehydrate them, or whatever for the off season. But to work on removing the processed foods from your diet and see how you feel. Processed foods have ingredients. Whole foods have no ingredients. That always keep that in mind. What's processed food? If there's an ingredient label on it and there's more than one word, that's processed. If it turn around and it just says what it is, that's whole. And second is try to figure out ways to grow your own food without necessarily having the sun. This is going to be a tough one, folks.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, all the processed foods, and when you do make that change, sometimes I think when you start thinking about it, it does get a little frustrating because
it's overwhelming.
You start thinking about us as consumers. We need to eat, but all the food that they put out there, knowing that it's not good for us.
And most of it has a lot of sugar
they can
too.
put the powers that be can put food out there, and they know we'll buy it. And it's up to us to
discern.
Educate ourselves on. This isn't good for me. It's got more ingredients in it than you can pronounce. You can pronounce, yeah. And
we're responsible for our own health, folks. Yeah. Not the doctors, not anybody else. Not the manufacturers, not the grocery stores. They are not responsible for our health. We are. Mm-hmm. And we need to start taking responsibility for it. Sherry said mushrooms and the mycelium helps remediate the soil from top. Yes, it does. Sherry had a really good point. We went to this place called Mushroom Mountain in Easley, South Carolina. If you want to look it up. Trad Cotter, he is like the leading expert on the southern East Coast.
He's the mushroom guru.
He is the mushroom guru. There's plenty others, but I went to one of his workshops. We've met him a couple times. Trad Cotter, Mushroom Mountain. And he was working with a state, and he would take the spent mycelium from the mushrooms, the compost, and he would take it when they had the oil spills down on the beach, and it cleaned up the ocean. And they use it also, it filters water. We were going to put it in our gray water runoff to filter that. And it's amazing. Not only that, but he was taken, and the state owned the patent and buried it, y'all. Like they do every other cure. He took the mushroom spawn, put it in the substrate, would take somebody's strep culture from that had strep, introduce it to the mushroom spawn. I saw his lab, and it was absolutely fascinating. And within 2 days, the mushroom created a liquid that was a individual, personal cure for that person's specific strep. It was the most amazing thing. He was working with the universities for that and the state that funded it. And the mushrooms created the customized strep cure. Something that no human could do, no antibiotic could do that was manufactured in the lab. And it was different for everybody. And of course, again, they own the patent, so it's buried. You'll never find it on the shelf. But Trad, instead of trying to sell medicinal mushroom stuff because there's so much governing body over that, he sells the liquor now. So, for instance, you say a tincture. A tincture is the extracted properties in alcohol. Well, if you sell this as an earache cure, you're now under the government governing body for all of health stuff, and that's very, very controlled. Just like they did ivermectin during COVID. It's been proven safe for over 60, 70 years. Instead, he called it mushroom beer, mushroom alcohol, which isn't regulated like that. Same stuff, and he was able to sell it that way. So, anyways, look him up. Trad Collar, Mushroom Mountain. Really amazing. We would buy all of our cultures from him, and they ship them everywhere. We've even gotten them since we've been here, but the chickens ate it. Anyhow. But there's so much that we don't even know about the fungi world. It is very, very interesting, and how it communicates with each other, and the beneficial aspects of it for us, for our health. I mean, I've heard things from it cures cancer to, global warming. But wouldn't that be something if all the cures were in the weeds and mushrooms, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You would think that we heard that before, like in Genesis, the first chapter.
Well, are we good?
We're good. Okay, y'all. You guys have we're going to Dollywood today.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we like Dollywood, and I'm a big kid. You like Dollywood. He likes riding the choo-choo train.
I like the music. They play those oldies.
But yeah, that's what we're doing today, so we can see the fireworks tonight safely off of our property, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully we won't get a sticker in our eye,
Oh yeah, from the coal train. But anyhow, that's what we're doing today after church.
So go find you some fresh fruits and vegetables. Remember, the main ingredient in good fruits and vegetables is God.
Bye.